Welcome and thank you all for joining the Transcending the Crisis Global Virtual Conference. Hope everyone is well, safe, and healthy, and all of yours are the same. I am Cy, and I have the great pleasure of being with Scott, with Barry, and with Ted, and with all of you. With that, I'd love for you, Scott, to take it from there.
Well, thank you, Cy. My name is Scott Lewis, and I'm chairman of the CEO Roundtable here in Boston, and it's good to see so many of our members and friends on the roster today. For those of you who may not be familiar with the CEO Roundtable, we are a forum of CEOs who spend time with their peers in curated, facilitated groups to solve problems, to uncover blind spots, and to hold one another accountable. And we also examine the personal issues unique to our leadership positions. If nothing else, we provide the opportunity to spend at least 4 hours each month working on our business as opposed to in it. And we also put together programs like this to help kickstart our thinking about what is imperative and what's possible. And there's been no better time for us to be recharting our course. Although it may seem like we're expected to be rebuilding our boat while we're in the middle of a stormy sea, that's what we need to do, and that's what's going to separate the winners from the losers as we adapt to this new environment. If you're a CEO and not a member of a peer group, find one. I'll help you find one in your area. I mentioned we're in Boston, so if you're in this area, I'll be happy to help you. But if you're not in Boston and you don't like me, I would be happy to help you find a peer group in your area. I'd like to announce that we have also, because we've demonstrated in the last few weeks that we can accomplish our mission without being together physically, we've recently launched a new CEO peer group without borders for those CEOs who don't have the option or desire to travel to meetings. So I'd like to thank Cy for masterminding this program, for the energy and the goodwill he's expended in putting it together. It far surpasses any expectation I had when we first began talking about it just a few weeks ago. I'd also like to thank my new friend Barry Bettman and Ted Bauer. Read his blog. Barry has climbed the technical mountain that's required to put something like this together, and I appreciate the skill and the grace that he's done that with. So I'll turn it over to Barry. Barry, thank you.
Hey, thank you, Scott, and good morning from the West Coast here. So happy to be here. A bit about myself. My name is Barry Bettman, located in Reno, Nevada, on the West Coast of the United States. Principal at Success Coaching International, where we help leaders be great in their life. So it's a combination of coaching, facilitation, and live real-time programs like what we're doing today. Personally, I'm an ex-technologist turned human. I was in the computer business for 22 years, and the last 24 years been doing coaching facilitation. When Cy reached out to me and said, would I consider being the executive producer on this, I didn't know what a grand experiment and experience this would be. We have over 400 people registered today. We have 40 panelists and moderators, 5 producers, and then a whole slew of other people behind the scenes that have outreached and supported. So it's really an amazing thing. I just want to say that transcending the crisis is so important. It's not only COVID, there's racism, there's a lot of stuff going on in our world, a lot of uncertainty, and we'll be talking about these different tenets and pillars today. I think it gives us all a great opportunity to take the magnifying glass, see what's there. But I know if it's hitting each of us in our hearts, it means it's hitting our clients, our friends, our colleagues, and indirectly and directly people that we don't even know. So I think we're off to an amazing experience. Thank you again, and we're going to send it over to Ted. Hi, Ted. Welcome. Tell us about yourself and what you're up to for today.
Hey, Derek. Hey, everybody that's out there. I'm a content strategist, blogger, general thinker type person that's worked with a bunch of different brands. I've done some stuff with both Cy and Barry in the past, although I'm a little bit new to the Scott part of the world, but I've gotten to know him as well. I think this is going to be a really important event. I've been lucky to be on a bunch of stuff flying around beforehand as we were getting it prepped, and there's a lot of good speakers, panelists, presenters that have a lot of diverse opinions. I would say the high majority of stuff you're going to see is very actionable and business focused. There is some philosophy and approach in there for sure, but there's a lot of things that you can really apply to scaling a business and growing a business and just dealing with these times, which are very chaotic for a lot of people, obviously, both from a health standpoint and a social unrest context. So before we get started, I guess I would say thanks to Barry, Cy, Scott, Kelly, other organizers, people that were behind the scenes on it. Obviously, a lot of work goes into this, so thanks to all those people. I'm going to throw it back to Cy to get us kind of aligned and moving forward now.
Thank you so much. Thank you all so much. Just briefly, a little bit more about my background. I am definitely not an event person. I am very openly a practitioner, and I've shared that with everyone. I am a practitioner. I look at myself as a catalyst, sometimes called a coach, sometimes called a consultant. My focus, very similar to the folks that have already shared, I really help organizations and people really deal with reality. For me, that's very, very sacred, as well as human nature. So two sacred elements and relative to their identity. So those three pieces coming together through awareness, we can have an impact in the world. And that's been my driver. As some of you know me, some of you don't, everything that I bring forward is derived from practice. That's extremely crucial because there is no test like the test of reality. And likewise, immediately applicable. So that has driven a lot of the conversations and where we go from here. A little bit about kind of the why and sort of elaborating relative to the points that Barry and others have already mentioned. This was triggered by COVID-19, and we had the great fortune to do something very similar in May with a number of folks that are here likewise, and they'll of course represented and mentioned. But that COVID-19 triggered, if you will, very much a reality, and we became excessively aware that it was a human crisis and remains a human crisis. So beyond the virus, it is a human crisis. In recognizing that, we also recognize that it is really challenging our very notion of normal. What does that even mean at this point? And in saying all that, we observed and quite quickly recognized the narrative and the themes that have brought us together. And of course, these are on the website. Very quickly to sort of share them. You know, in order to survive and thrive as a global community, we have to be very much technology enabled, business focused, human powered by all means, and society embracing. And we experience the themes all in different words and differently. The themes like randomness or uncertainty and risk and complexity and robustness and resilience and anti-fragility and future proofing, numerous other things. Those might not be the words that you use or that the panelists use or the guests. They render an experience. That's the key. Saying all that, deep gratitude for all the guests who will be speaking, tremendous individuals all around. The panel hosts, likewise tremendous. The track hosts who you'll be meeting. Really, we had a collection of lightning conversations and contributors, incredible individuals as well. Really a conference before the conference. Some of them are here, some of them are not at this point, just given time zones. Tremendous gratitude to the supporters, the special guests that we have in Maria with the Creating We Institute. Likewise, Michelle will be joining us later. I also want to definitively call out Richard Glacier as well, a man that has my heart, and by all means, all the participants that we have with us. So definitely unique experiences being brought forward. I go back to the umbrella that everyone has really mentioned. Our key focus across the board is actionable perspectives, insights, and guidance. That key aspect of actionable is very, very dear and very important to all of us, especially in this time. And we're looking for practical impact. So please, as you go out through the day, keep that in mind. We're looking for things that are actionable in terms of perspective, insights, and guidance that we can begin to go ahead and achieve practical impact. That's the backdrop. Just give me a few more minutes to give a little bit of an overview, and I'll hand it off to Barry, who will guide us in terms of the setup and everything that's needed. Everything is organized in conversations across the day. We'll go into the opening conversation with Maria. We'll have an opening panel conversation. We'll have a break. We've got 3 tracks, and Barry will talk about how to get access to the tracks as we get going. Those tracks each have 4 deep dive sessions, and we'll be able to move around and really be able to attend all things that we want to. Then we'll take a break, and then we'll have a closing panel. And then after the closing panel, we'll have our closing conversation with Michelle. So a very, very rich day all around, exploring all the things that we've mentioned. Before I hand it off to Barry to kind of give us a little bit more guidance, I really, again, want to emphasize, please embrace an actionable perspective, insights, and guidance for practical impact. The things that we will be sharing together today, we can immediately begin to put into practice yesterday. With that, I hand it off to Barry to give us more details around the logistics.
Okay, thank you, Sai, so much for that framework. So everybody should be seeing my screen share now. You see it okay, Sai, with the agenda on here? So this is the agenda and that Sai talked about. We have it broke up into 3 main portions. The first portion from 10 a.m. Eastern time through the break, which is 12 o'clock Eastern, is really the first part is what I'm going to call the general session. That's the room we're in now. You all came in with your PIN that you came in because you're registered. Then at 11:45 a.m. Eastern time, we'll take a 15-minute break. You will see on here 3 bit.ly tracks links, and it's on here. It's also in your email. So in your email, there should be, you have to scroll down partway. There will be 3 links with this information, or you can get to it off this PDF, and the PDF link is in your email. To go during the tracks for our attendees, you can go track to track. Each time you can leave one track in the middle and go to another. All you have to do is click on the bit.ly link, and you're going to be going into that track. When you're done, either at the end of that track, you want to go another track, or partway through, whatever your fancy is, you just say leave, which is leaving the meeting. Then you'll click on the other one, so you go into the other track. So you can free float back and forth, much like if you were at a hotel. So these tracks go from 12 o'clock Eastern time to 2 o'clock Eastern time. There's 3 tracks with 4 sections. Then we'll have a break. Another 15-minute break from 2 o'clock to 2:15. The closing part, not the closing, but the last part of the general session goes from 2:15 Eastern to 4 p.m. Eastern. And then you go back to the same link that you came in for the first section as your link for your given that you registered with. Sai, does that sound clear? Is there anything else I need to add?
I think we're good. If
okay,
are you good if I can just make a few more comments, Barry? Yeah.
Please.
Thank you. So before we kick off, and I know we're going to do that in a minute here, this is an invitation to all of us. So we really, really appreciate everyone here. We're all invited into this together. We come in to convene with a respectful tone. So we definitely honor one another in that way, in a spirit of inquiry. So please keep that in mind as we go throughout the day. We come in fueled by openness, curiosity, and creativity, curious to learn, to share in the context that we've already established. We also want to respect and appreciate distinctions so we don't get things too messy in that same way. Please, all around, offer each other the grace as co-creators, and in that way we can become a stronger community. And without too much more to say, in the words of Judith Glacier, to get to the next level of greatness depends on the quality of the culture, which depends on the quality of relationships, which depends on the quality of conversations. She taught us everything happens through conversations. Thank you so much. All back to you, Barry.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Sai. So, yes, Judith is an amazing woman, and we miss her dearly, and we're happy that Richard and Maria are taking the shining light of the We Institute and keeping it going forward. One logistical piece, we have producers, and they are Kelly for this room, and then during the tracks, we have Avery, Colleen, and Kelly. And they're going to be doing flipping on some cameras and starting and stopping recordings. So with that, I'm going to say thank you for this opening session, this little introduction. We're going to be bringing on Maria here in just a moment, and we're going to send it over to Kelly for her to do her magic. Go ahead there, Kelly.